Some among our own kind have sensed your awakening, Gale said, his voice carrying across the desert dawn, and they no longer stand with humanity. Gale Arden stood motionless, his battle-worn cloak billowing in the morning breeze. His weathered face betrayed no emotion as he gazed toward the western horizon, where three distorted spiral signatures approached, their energy patterns twisted and malformed. The silent concord grew warm against Jax's chest as Caeln's voice whispered through their link. For the first time, you will taste true killing intent. Your primordial spiral will guide you if you know how to listen. As the figures drew closer, their features became visible. A woman with jagged red lines tracing up her neck led the group, flanked by two men, one with muscles that shifted unnaturally beneath his skin, the other with a lean build and eyes that glowed amber. Talia, a young blood morph initiate from Gale's team, shifted uneasily. "Commander, their spiral signatures are wrong, like they've been forcibly evolved, modified through forbidden methods." Gale confirmed, maintaining his position. He made no move to ready himself for combat, his mere presence creating a weight in the air around them. The natural pressure from his hyperbody, Apex Cultivation, extended outward, causing the approaching cultivators to hesitate momentarily. The twisted cultivators stopped 50 meters away, their hungry attention fixed on Jax. "The boy with the primordial spiral," the woman called out, her voice carrying an unnatural resonance. "Hand him over, and the rest of you may live." Gale remained motionless. "State your purpose," he demanded, the authority in his voice unmistakable. The woman smiled coldly. "We represent those who understand true cultivation requires sacrifice. The boy's unformed spiral is a resource too valuable to waste on conventional methods." "What exactly do you want with me?" Jax called out, stepping forward, despite Mira's restraining hand on his arm. "To harvest what you possess," the burlier man replied, his voice grating. "A primordial spiral in the hands of an untrained boy is a tragedy. In our hands, it could accelerate evolution by centuries. They seek to extract your spiral and incorporate it into their own," Caeln explained, "a process that would destroy you while granting them temporary power." Gale turned slightly, addressing his team while keeping the cultivators in view. "Talia, take the blood morph. Davis, engage the Boneborn on the right." To Jax, he added quietly, "The second Boneborn is yours. He's solid Tier 2 sublevels above your initiate stage. I will observe but not intervene. This is your test." Jax swallowed hard, the reality of the situation sinking in. "Don't I get a weapon?" "Your spiral is your weapon," Gale replied simply. "Until you learn to use it effectively, no external tool will help you." The woman raised her hand, and the three corrupted cultivators spread out in attack formation. "Last chance, surrender the boy, or face the consequences." Gale made no move to engage. Instead, he stepped back, the ambient pressure from his hyperbody apex cultivation creating an invisible field that even Jax could feel. The commander had no intention of fighting. His role today was simply to observe. "Attack!" the woman ordered, and the three corrupted cultivators lunged forward simultaneously. The Boneborn solid targeted Jax immediately. Crossing the distance with unnatural speed, his first strike came without warning. A palm thrust aimed at Jax's chest that radiated corrupted spiral energy. "Move!" Caeln's voice cut through Jax's momentary paralysis. Jax dodged, but not quickly enough. The blow glanced off his left forearm with a sickening crack. Pain exploded through his nervous system as bone fractured and blood welled beneath the skin. "Too slow, boy," the cultivator sneered, already repositioning for another strike. "Your precious primordial spiral won't save you if you don't know how to use it." Nearby Talia engaged the blood morph cultivator, their equal rank offset by her opponent's unnatural modifications. Davis, A Crimson Guard member circled warily with the other. Boneborn Gale stood apart, arms crossed, his eyes fixed on Jax's battle. The commander made no move to assist his expression, revealing nothing as he evaluated his young charge's performance. The pressure from his cultivation remained constant, a background force that slightly hampered the corrupted cultivator's movements without directly intervening. Jax's primordial spiral responded automatically to his injury, energy flowing to the damaged area, temporarily stabilizing the fracture and stemming the blood flow. But the pain remained sharp and insistent. The Boneborn attacked again, this time with a spinning kick that Jax barely managed to block. The impact sent him skidding backward, his newly formed energy channels straining under the pressure. "Don't be stubborn," Caeln advised. "Don't play by their rules. Guide your spiral, don't let it drag you along." "What does that even mean?" Jax gasped, narrowly avoiding another strike. "Your opponent expects conventional defense. His modified spiral gives him greater raw power, but less control. Use that against him." The corrupted cultivator pressed his advantage, driving Jax back with a series of punishing blows. Each impact jarred Jax's entire body. His makeshift defenses barely holding. "They said you were special," the man taunted, his eyes gleaming with malice. "I see nothing but a frightened child." Something shifted in Jax's perception. Instead of focusing on blocking or evading each individual attack, he began sensing the flow of his opponent's spiral energy, the rhythmic pulses and fluctuations that preceded each movement. The next attack came, but this time Jax didn't try to match strength with strength. Instead, he redirected his opponent's momentum, using the corrupted cultivator's own force against him. The Boneborn's fist missed by millimeters, his overextension creating a momentary imbalance. Now Caeln urged Jax channeled his spiral energy, as Caeln had taught him, focusing it into a concentrated burst. "Void pulse," he exhaled, driving his palm into his opponent's exposed side. The impact wasn't particularly powerful, but its timing was perfect, catching the Boneborn during a fluctuation in his energy cycle. The corrupted cultivator stumbled backward, shock evident on his face. "Impossible," he hissed. "A Boneborn initiate shouldn't be able to affect my solid-tier cultivation." Jax didn't waste breath responding. Instead, he pressed his advantage, following his instincts, as his primordial spiral guided his movements. Each step, each strike became more fluid, more precise, as if his body was remembering patterns it had never actually learned. From his position at the perimeter, Gale observed with growing interest. His expression remained neutral, but his eyes narrowed slightly as he witnessed Jax's unexpected adaptation. The corrupted cultivator recovered quickly. His next attack came with redoubled fury, his modified spiral burning through reserves at an unsustainable rate. This time Jax couldn't fully evade. His opponent's fist connected with his ribs, the impact sending shockwaves through his internal organs. Jax collapsed to one knee, blood speckling his lips. The damage was severe, internal bleeding, possibly ruptured organs, his vision blurred as pain threatened to overwhelm him. "Your spiral is trying to help you." Caeln's voice cut through the fog of agony. "Let it." With tremendous effort, Jax turned his awareness inward. His primordial spiral pulsed with an urgent rhythm energy, gathering along unfamiliar pathways. Unlike the structured channels of conventional cultivation, these connections formed spontaneously, adapting to immediate need. "What is this?" Jax gasped, feeling the energy reorganize itself within him. "Your true potential," Caeln answered. "Don't control it, harmonize with it." The Boneborn cultivator approached, for what he clearly intended to be a finishing blow. "Such a waste," he said, corrupted energy gathering around his fist. "Your spiral would have served a greater purpose with us." As his opponent attacked, Jax stopped resisting the flow within him. His primordial spiral surged forward, manifesting as a lattice of blue-white energy that encased his body like a second skin. Void Frame. He whispered the technique name coming to him unbidden. The corrupted cultivator's strike connected with the energy framework, and for a heartbeat, everything stopped. Then reality reasserted itself as Jax's defensive technique absorbed and redirected the attack force, creating a shockwave that sent both combatants flying in opposite directions. Jax hit the ground hard, rolling several times before coming to rest face down in the sand. Every breath brought fresh agony from his damaged ribs and internal injuries, but he forced himself to his feet, knowing the fight wasn't over. The Boneborn cultivator had also risen, though he moved with noticeable difficulty. His right arm hung awkwardly, the shoulder joint visibly displaced. What kind of technique was that?" he demanded, voice tight with pain and confusion. Jax didn't answer. He simply stood his ground, gathering what remained of his strength for one final exchange. Time seemed to slow as Jax's perception sharpened. He could see the subtle shifts in his opponent's stance, the gathering of corrupted energy, the trajectory the attack would follow. And in that moment of clarity, he knew exactly what to do. As the Boneborn launched forward, Jax executed a perfect counter, not blocking or deflecting, but meeting the attack at its weakest point with his own concentrated strike. Void Pulse intensified. He called out the technique, modifying itself through his intuitive connection with the primordial spiral. The collision of energies created a concussive wave that rippled outward across the desert floor. When it cleared, the corrupted cultivator lay motionless on the ground, a look of shock frozen on his face. Blood pooled beneath him from a wound that had penetrated through chest cavity to spine. Jax remained standing for precisely 3 seconds before his knees buckled. As consciousness faded, he was distantly aware of Gale finally moving toward him, his observation complete. The commander's expression held something Jax hadn't seen before. Genuine respect. Jax woke to pain, dull throbbing but manageable. He lay on a thin bedroll, the cold desert sand beneath him, stars wheeling overhead. Attempting to sit up proved a mistake. Sharp agony lanced through his ribs and abdomen. "Don't move," Mira cautioned, appearing in his field of vision. "Your energy pathways are still stabilizing." "How long was I out?" Jax asked, his voice barely more than a whisper. "Nearly 6 hours," she replied, checking his pulse with clinical efficiency. "You suffered significant internal injuries. The fight strained your newly formed channels almost to breaking point." The silent concord warmed against his chest as Caeln's translucent form materialized beside him, visible only to Jax. The ancient cultivator's expression held a mixture of pride and concern. "You won, but you still don't understand what you carry within your body," he observed. Jax waited until Mira moved away before responding quietly. "I killed someone today." "Yes," Caeln acknowledged, without judgment. "The first of many such choices you will face." "Does it get easier?" "No, it shouldn't. The day it becomes easy is the day you lose something essential." Jax stared up at the star-filled sky, processing the events of the battle. "The techniques I used, they weren't what you taught me. They just appeared in my mind." Caeln's ethereal form settled beside him. "What I am teaching you is not merely a cultivation technique, my disciple. It is the first level of a cultivation system that was systematically erased from the universe." The gravity in Caeln's tone captured Jax's full attention. "What do you mean, erased?" "Voidheart Ascension comprises 15 levels, each corresponding to a cultivation realm," Caeln explained. "Each level unlocks unique killing techniques that cannot be replicated or learned through conventional means. The method doesn't simply enhance your spiral, it connects you to the fundamental structure of reality itself." Caeln paused, his gaze distant. Only a primordial spiral can withstand the journey to its final level. Conventional spirals would collapse under the strain. Is that why those corrupted cultivators wanted me? Because my spiral is different? Partly, Caeln acknowledged, but there's more. Ages ago, I fought to prevent someone from using this cultivation path to unify all spirals under their control. I was gravely wounded in that confrontation. My fall to Earth wasn't accidental. It was the result of that battle. For 12,000 years, I was hunted across dimensions for possessing this knowledge. Caeln continued, his ethereal form shimmering with the weight of memory. I retreated to Earth, a planet without cultivators, to hide both myself and the cultivation system I carried. Why not share it? Why keep such knowledge to yourself? Jax asked. Because in the wrong hands, Voidheart Ascension becomes a tool for universal domination. Caeln replied, his voice solemn. The system was originally created by beings seeking to ascend beyond the natural order. When the consequences became clear, those with wisdom tried to erase all traces of it from existence. Yet you preserved it. I preserved it because absolute knowledge should never be completely destroyed. But I vowed only to pass it to one whose spiral configuration could handle its power without corruption, one with a primordial spiral like my own. So when I awakened my spiral, you became the disciple. I had waited 12 millennia to find Caeln. Finished your primordial spiral, called to mine across the dimensional barriers of the silent concord. That resonance is why the techniques come naturally to you. Your spiral recognizes them as its optimal expression. Their conversation was interrupted as Gale approached, his imposing figure silhouetted against the campfire behind him. Caeln's projection faded as the commander crouched beside Jax. What do you know about the cultivation system? Gale asked, his tone contemplative. Jax chose his words carefully. Only the first 5 levels body refinement, then mind opening. Gale nodded. The vein-forged stage Boneborn through hyperbody focuses on physical transformation. Each level strengthens a specific bodily system, bones, blood, marrow, muscle, and finally complete physical transformation at hyperbody, where flight becomes possible. Kane's voice whispered in Jax's mind, creating a visualization of a spiral column that only he could see. Vein-forge comprises the first 5 levels. Boneborn strengthens your skeletal structure. Blood morph channels. Spiral through your blood to enhance recovery. Marrow shift uses bone marrow to increase reflexes. Fleshforge stores spiral energy in muscle for explosive power, and hyperbody completes physical refinement, enabling flight. And after that, Jax prompted, mind reach begins with mind tide opening the mental realm and beginning to perceive the soul. Gale explained. From there, the path grows increasingly abstract. Beyond the 6th level, the physical body ceases to be your limitation. Caeln added privately, but if your sense of self is weak, the spiral will crush you before you ever reach such heights. Gale stood, his assessment of Jax complete. You showed courage today, but courage alone won't keep you alive in this world. If you want to survive what's coming, you need to learn to kill faster than your enemies can adapt. By morning, Jax could stand without assistance, though each movement brought fresh reminders of his injuries. The camp buzzed with activity as Gale's team prepared to relocate. Mira approached, her expression troubled. I've been analyzing the blood morph's remains, she said, keeping her voice low. The modifications to his spiral channels show signs of a specific technique from Project Hollowborn. What's that? Jax asked. A classified military initiative from the early days of the Abyssal invasion. Scientists were desperate to accelerate spiral development in human subjects. Her disgust was evident. The project was officially terminated after multiple test subjects suffered catastrophic spiral collapse. But it seems someone continued the work underground. Their conversation was interrupted as Gale called the team together. The commander stood apart, his gaze fixed on the horizon as he addressed the group. Our position is compromised. We move in 15 minutes. His voice carried an unmistakable gravity. There's been a development at Outpost Sirius. All communications have gone dark. As the team dispersed to complete preparations, Gale approached Jax and Mira. Old evils are resurfacing, he said, his expression grim. His eyes shifted to the fallen cultivator's body, being loaded into a containment unit. We'll need to go deeper all the way to Facility Delta. Mira's eyes widened, the original site of Project Hollowborn that's been abandoned for years. Not as abandoned as we thought, Gale replied. Something is stirring that we thought buried. Gale turned away, but not before adding quietly, we're going to have to face the origins of this corruption. The answers lie beneath Delta Facility, where it all began. As the convoy prepared to depart, Jax stood at the edge of camp. Gazing at the horizon, the morning sun cast long shadows across the desert floor, shadows that seemed to reach toward him like grasping fingers. The silent concord warmed against his chest. Caeln's presence a reminder that he wasn't facing these challenges alone, but the path ahead would demand more than courage or determination. It would require him to advance at a pace that defied conventional cultivation wisdom. The first battle had been fought and won, but as Jax climbed aboard the lead transport, he couldn't shake the feeling that they were moving. Not just toward a destination, but toward a confrontation that would test everything he had begun to learn about himself and the power awakening within him.